Hello, once again, and welcome to our kitchen table. I'm sitting here with my wife, your therapist, and today we're going to be talking about one of the most stressful things you can do.
Yeah.
Which is move.
Yeah, it's huge. I think that it impacts every bit of your life, including your safe space, your home base, and that makes it that much more challenging.
This is top of mind for us today because not only are we kind of in the middle of moving ourselves.
Very much in the middle of moving ourselves.
But you have recently you've had folks reach out to you, you've had clients ask you.
I've recently gotten to talk through moves with several people and had somebody email and reach out. And so if you're the one who received the email, this information will be familiar to you. But otherwise, I think it's a good place to start. I think that having especially this is information as a neurodivergent person planning a move, but I think it's helpful to anybody with a human brain trying to move their habitat to a new place.
Well, as always, my name is Price, and I knocked up your therapist.
Whoa. We're having a baby.
We are. Ash is pregnant. Congratulations.
Thank you. Congrats on being a dad.
How far along are you?
22 weeks.
So you mean to tell me that for at least several episodes, I haven't spilled the beans on this?
I think it's shocking.
We've
actually just very carefully trimmed it out of each episode. It's every other sentence.
Every episode, I'm like, she's pregnant!
But yeah, we've known for a little bit, and now the time has finally been right to get to share with other people. So.
Yeah, we're having a little boy, so due in late June.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you all updated. I know that the listeners will be very interested to know all the details.
The podcast is having a baby.
We'll have to add the baby's face to the little image, the icon for
I'm
the
just going to draw a little potato and stick it in there. I think that'll work.
Yeah, that would fit
indiscernible.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving is stressful. I'm not ashamed to admit on the therapist podcast, excuse us, trouble, stop. Can you believe that cats will be a pain in the ass? They never warned me.
Can you believe that if you name a cat Trouble, he will be a particular nightmare?
We're in the middle of this move. I'm not ashamed to admit I see a therapist. Mm-hmm. Not ashamed to admit that on the therapy
Speaking
podcast.
of therapists, I'm Ash, and I'm your therapist, by the way. Okay, let's continue.
I was so excited about the baby. We moved right past it.
I know.
And we're moving to a nice home. And I feel so very blessed that we're getting to do this really beautiful, lovely move. And I have continued to tell myself that it's like, oh, well, I can't be stressed about that. I don't deserve to be stressed about something that's so good. And my therapist was like, Bryce, moving is fucking stressful. Like, you are stressed. Like, everybody's stressed around moving. Like, the entire experience is extremely stressful, no matter how good the reason or where you're moving is.
Yeah, regardless of how much you're looking forward to it, regardless of how much you're preparing, it's just stressful.
Yeah.
The other thing is that I think that specifically is a very common thing that I hear from folks about I'm not allowed to complain about this thing that's also good.
Yeah.
And so something that's very important to know that good stress is also stress. Planning a wedding, planning a move,
having a baby,
starting at a new school, even if you're really excited about it, good stress is still just stress on your body. It's the same exact thing to your brain.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of stress for all of those things.
And then I think a lot of us excuse it. It's it doesn't count because it's over something that's good. But that's not totally fair you're not being very fair to yourself. And it prevents you from being able to take the steps that you need in order to take good care of yourself, and then all of a sudden you're freaking the fuck out over a good thing, and then people are like, why are you so upset when your life is filled with so many blessings? Or at least that's how I feel about it for me, Well,
the other thing is I think it's bound to potentially be a little bit more stressful because when you talk to other people about it, nobody's validating you. Nobody's like, oh man, that's hard to have lost your job. Oh man, that's hard to whatever. They're like, well, that's exciting for you to have a wedding. Isn't that great? Isn't it great that you found somebody who loves you forever? That must be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
No, it's a huge, enormous, ridiculous size stress. And it just feels that way.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so true. Yeah, if you're listening and you have good things in your life that are stressing you out, it's okay to acknowledge that in yourself. In fact, it's better to acknowledge that that's true.
It's not uncommon for a couple of good things or big stressors to happen at once, too. For instance, move and baby for us. But also it's pretty normal for if you're starting at college, you're moving to that school, and that's two big things at once. Or maybe you're moving and starting a job, and like the overlap can be pretty common. And that's going to be way more on your system. That's like exponentially more.
One thing I want to call out is that you help your clients, you have people reach out to you asking for help specifically about moving. I don't think a lot of people realize that that's the sort of thing you can ask your therapist about.
Yes, that's a great point. I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah.
I think that if you're at a point in your life where you just have something new coming up, or you just have something that feels big or unfamiliar, that's a really good reason to go to therapy. You don't have to be in the middle of a crisis. It can just be like, oh, I'm starting a new job. Oh, so many people. I got to talk to so many folks when I worked at the university who are about to graduate and head into their career. And they felt so good about graduating and so excited. And they were like, also, I want to be the best physician's assistant I can be. I'd like to talk to you about how I can be better at
and
this
you talked about that, like when to start and end therapy is like some people begin and end it when they're weathering like a change in their life.
Yeah.
You know, because those things, even if the change is good, change is stressful.
Yep.
And when you change where you're going to lay your head at night,
oh my gosh, yeah.
That's such a foundational change to like your entire life, you know?
Yep.
So talk to us about the sorts of advice that you give to your clients, or if somebody's going to ask you for advice on how to move, tell us what you would tell them.
Okay, I have a couple of different things. One in general is just giving yourself as much runway to like plan ahead and prepare. That a lot of us will put off something that's stressful, so you won't pack until the last minute, or you won't do whatever. And even if you don't have to do it all right now, but even if you pack a box today for your move that's coming up in a little bit, even if you just make a to-do list. One of my favorite things that I did before a cross-country move, we moved from Chicago to Charlotte. I think we only knew we had a month, and I had 4 checklists all written out on like a big page. And it was week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Because some things I would realize I needed to do, but I didn't need to do it until the last week we were there, like scheduling utilities for the new place or whatever. And instead of having to keep this on my mind or keeping this on a current checklist where it was sitting there unchecked and bothering me, I just put it on the week 4 checklist.
What I like about that is that you paced yourself. You didn't burden yourself with the need to do it all up front, because that was not possible.
Yeah.
And, you know, as we've started packing up this house here, and it's like, well, we still need access to our kitchen stuff, right? Because we're here for a few more weeks. So we can't pack that stuff up yet. But there is, like, stuff in the closets and stuff in the guest bedroom that we can pack up now. And so we've started doing that to, like, get ahead of it. The other thing that you didn't do is force yourself to do all of that in a weekend. Yeah. Which is not possible. No. And a lot of people put themselves in a situation where the deadline that you need that little ADHD deadline trigger to like get moving in the first place. And the deadline is the day they need to leave. Yeah. Y'all, that's a bad fucking day. Yeah. To view as your deadline to get it done.
Oh my gosh. I can remember with you moving out of a dorm, and I was moving out of a dorm. We were dating, and you were helping me move, and you were so kind and lovely. And I was going to say I knew then that I was going to marry you. We might have already been engaged at that point. But anyway, I had an exam that day because we were moving out, which is a normal feeling on a move-out day, even if it's not a literal exam. And I had not packed because I'd been stressed about exams and I'd been putting it off. And the time that I had estimated, it must have taken triple that with both of us to get the car loaded up, a small little dorm room. So like, don't put that sort of pressure on yourself. The more that you can say, I'm going to be packed by 3 days ahead, and these last days I'm going to visit with friends. I'm going to eat out and enjoy my time in the place that I'm leaving.
Enjoy packing the entire time. Yeah, if you need a deadline to get going, let me be the 5 days before you need to move. You need to be ready to move deadline for you. That's
be living out of a suitcase at that point. Yeah. Speaking of which, living out of a suitcase is a good thing to do, but we'll get to that. Okay, so the first thing on this list is...
Wait. We didn't just cover the first thing?
No, those are general things.
So we have like general tips and now we have like a numbered list.
Well, listen, I previously wrote this numbered list, and so my autistic brain will not allow me to now edit this list.
It's locked
This
in
list
stone.
is perfect. It's exceptional. Nothing needs to change about it. So my additional information to you is what we just talked
You
about.
heard that, folks. This episode is going to be perfect.
Yeah.
All right, what's number one?
Okay, number one, starting from
I love
scratch.
just like in the middle of an episode, starting a numbered list.
Sorry, guys. If your brain works like mine, I'd love to hear from you. Email I'mMarriedYourTherapist@gmail.com and tell me that I'm not the only one. It's a perfect list. It cannot be altered. Okay, number one on the perfect list of moving. Make a plan based on something you're looking forward to at the new place. Whether you're moving across town or across the country, make sure to make a plan that involves celebrating that new space. Find a new restaurant in that area you're looking forward to. Maybe your old apartment didn't have a back patio and this one does have a little patio. Make a plan that you and your partner are going to go like drink tea out on the patio your first morning there. Like,
Or if something's gone wrong and you're having to downsize, enjoy vacuuming that apartment without having to unplug and replug the vacuum. Little things in
set
life.
aside just 15 minutes to vacuum your new space.
Man, my McMansion, it would have taken an hour.
But whatever it is, it doesn't have to be that you've like expanded or upgraded or moved to a place that you're more excited about.
Right.
But take what is different about that, which is the thing that's going to be hard. It's hard to be somewhere different. Take something that's different about this space and make a specific plan around that thing that's different, that celebrates like, oh, this different thing can be nice. It can add something new to my life, like not needing to unplug the vacuum when I vacuum, whatever it is.
Okay, I like that. That's a good idea.
Okay, number two on the perfect list.
The perfect list.
While you are still in your space, before you start packing, before your life changes, make a note of the most important parts of your routine. You should be keeping in mind the little things that you do during the day. But make a note of the most important parts of your routine and make sure that you make a plan to implement those things on the other side. So what's really important about this is that our brains are environment-based. They're remembering our automatics, our routines, what to do, what we like, because of the space that we're in. When I walk out into the kitchen in the morning, I don't have to think about the things that I want to do because the coffee maker is always where it is and the fridge is always where it is. And So I walk past the things that remind me what I like to do on a normal day, and I have an automated routine around that.
It's why so many, when elderly folks get moved from where they live to a nursing home, why they deteriorate so rapidly once they step through the doors, because you've removed them oftentimes like with necessity, unfortunately, from the environment that they were able to function in. And that happened with, one of my grandparents, where she was like, okay in her home.
She'd been doing the same routine in that home for decades.
40 years or something. And then you put her in a new environment and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, she really is not there. And
I don't know what I do.
And the cracks are starting to really show because she's in this new environment.
Yep. It became clear that a lot of her ability to function had to do with her being in a familiar space.
Being automated, yeah. So you're saying, like, make sure to capture what's important about your routines and manually re-implement them.
Yeah. If it's, if you have a routine set up about the way that you clean and tidy, and that makes it so much easier for you, make a note about how having the broom out and not in a closet is what helps you remember to grab the broom and sweep. If it's the way that you have your, morning routine stuff in an accessible place, if it's that you walk past the dog food bowl to help you remember to feed the dog, whatever the thing is.
Imagine the dog food bowl is what reminds you to feed the fucking dog.
And not the dog who's being completely obnoxious every morning.
Exactly.
Okay, maybe that's not the thing, but
no,
the thing about
suggestion.
Our brains is that they're environment based. We know what to do because of the environment we're in. So make sure to, and that's been studied in little things like test taking. Like people do better taking a test in the same environment that they studied in. Like our brains really rely on the context of the environment we're in to remember what to do.
Which is why they do driver's tests in cars.
That's the specific reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that's smart. It's cool that they know that, you know?
Yeah, somebody learned about that psychological study.
Like if you're getting your pilot's license hours, you know, you do that in a plane.
Really?
Yeah, the best place to like remember how to fly a plane is like by flying a plane.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you learn something new every day.
That's where the expression plain and simple comes from.
Okay, this has gone downhill.
Did I mention that you're expecting? I'm going to be a father?
Got some dad jokes for us?
All right. What's next on the list?
So keep in mind the thing about your brain being environment dependent. Make a note about that before your environment changes. Because like this home doesn't feel like our house anymore now that we have moved so much of our stuff out of it already.
Yeah.
So it would have been easier for me to do this a while ago and not now. When you get started in your new place, set some things up in a similar way. So I think that there's a lot of change in moving to a new space, but something you can do to give yourself a little bit of familiarity to help your brain not feel so freaked out. Keep the silverware drawer in the same sort of space in your kitchen.
And organize it the same way.
And organize it the same way. Down the road, you might choose to change things. You might go, you know what? This layout doesn't make sense. I have to walk way over here now to do this. Or it'd be so much more fun to adjust my couch this way.
Yeah.
But if your brain needs a lot of context and familiarity, this is specifically for, this might be less true if you're maybe ADHD and maybe more true if you're autistic. But routine's important for all of us. Set things up in the most similar way that you can.
Yeah.
Let your brain adjust to the new space and then go, oh yeah, I could switch this couch around. It would make more sense for me to keep plates up here.
Then actually,
you can make those decisions later.
Speaking of the drawers, I'm like looking at our kitchen drawers right now, and it's like, I remembered why we're moving. So our junk drawer got full.
Right. That is the reason to move, for sure.
It's like, well, but might as well just move now. So that junk staying
Burn
in that
it.
junk drawer for the next person.
Yep.
Good luck with it.
Yeah, enjoy. Okay. Number 4 on the list, think back to any past moves or big changes you've had and identify the things that made that most difficult. And make a specific plan for those things. Use what you already know about yourself and specifically plan around, oh man, this was so tough for me. For instance, or if you can't think of anything, one thing that we tend to need is easy access to our night routine. If you're getting in that first night and your sheets smell like they've been in a box forever and you can't find your toothbrush and you can't find all of these things, day 1 is going to feel really miserable in your new place. So something that you can do for yourself, and you might identify other parts of your routine that you want to keep too, but one thing you can do for yourself is like in your to-go bag that you're traveling with to your new place, don't just put in like toothbrush, change of clothes, which you should do. Also put in like your fresh sheets that smell like your bed and not like a box. Put in the couple of things that you need. Put in your like nighttime tea. Put in the things that are part of your whole entire bedtime routine and your pillows, and bring that with you separately, not in like the moving van or in packed with your stuff so that you can't find it.
Just ensure that you're able to get a good night's sleep. Like prioritize that in the way that you pack. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, pull out your favorite like pajamas, like put everything that encompasses that nighttime routine in the same spot so that if you can't find it in a box or it doesn't end up sitting in a box for weeks at a time, like pull those things out and keep them really accessible. So when you get there, you're like, okay, this smells like my bed and I got to brush my teeth and drink my tea.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
This is the last one on the list.
Last thing on the perfect list. Okay, let's hear it.
This one sounds really simple, but I think like you were talking about earlier, it's a thing that we really struggle to do. Go really easy on yourself. Even if it's new and exciting, even if it's something that's like a great happy move for you, and so much more so if it's not. Like, it is hard for everybody to move. It's hard for people who've moved a lot. It's hard for people who've maybe never moved before. Like, moving is hard. It's hard for your brain to adjust to something new. And you don't need more reason than those things to go like really easy on yourself. If you're moving with a partner or with a friend or roommate or whoever, make an agreement out loud that we're going to be really kind and gentle to each other.
Yeah.
From the start, that we're going to, we're going to be more snippy with each other. Let's go ahead and remind each other that like moving is hard, and we'll set that aside.
Yeah. And it evokes a lot of emotions, especially oftentimes you're not even like aware of.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like I'm feeling very uncertain and uneasy and very stressed out, and I don't even really cognitively realize that because everything's fine. But my body's in a new place and like yearns for home, and this new place that we're in is not yet home.
Well, two things that our brains particularly struggle with. One is change, and the other is uncertainty. It's easier to deal with like a hard thing that's certain than a questionable thing.
I'll show you a hard thing that's certain.
Okay.
I can't believe I get to say shit like this.
Is that a dad joke or?
No, that's just a dick joke.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, two things that our brains have a hard time dealing with are uncertainty, what's unfamiliar, and change. And like moving involves both of those things. You're probably going to have a different payment than you had before.
Yeah.
You're going to have a different drive to work than you had before. Like there's going to be a lot of new and uncertain, and it's going to take a while for your brain to adjust. So go easy on yourself.
That's a perfect list.
Right?
I have nothing to add or to contribute to that list at all. It perfectly encapsulates everything that one. I think that really taps into a lot of the emotional side of things, like tangible things you can do to prepare for the fact that this is going to be so stressful. I have a few other thoughts.
Okay.
A little bit more boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Lean on your support system during a move. Kind of what you alluded to. Like if you're moving with a partner, like, hey, we're going to be more stressful. Yeah. Have regular communication with people that you care about, even if you're calling mom on the phone.
That's a big one.
Because that's a grounding, right? Like that's an opportunity to stay grounded with routines that do not change just because you have moved. If you're calling like a cousin or a friend or something, like you can keep doing that.
Sidebar on that. That's such a good point. I'm really glad you brought that up. Something I talk to autistic clients a lot about around moves is that often if we're not, well, ADHD people struggle with object permanence too, but often if we're not around the same people, we don't think about them. And people feel really, really bad about that. They feel really guilty to not think of their friend when they're no longer in the same city. They love their friend. If that thought comes to mind, they care about them, but it's not automatic for them. Make it automatic. Make a sticky note to say to call your friend and put it on your fridge or put it on your computer. Like you're allowed to make that easy on yourself. Make sure you're continuing to reach out to your support system and give yourself a reminder. Set an alarm on your phone. It's not less sweet to get a phone call from a friend when they had it as a reminder than it is if they just out of the blue thought of it. Like that connection means the same thing.
No, it's maybe perhaps sweeter because you have deliberately
I
made
got
it possible
scheduled
for you.
into your day.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. But
so lean on your support system.
Lean on your support system. Pack yourself. Do your own packing. Know where your things, like that allows you to take inventory of the stuff that you are moving. Because what a great fucking opportunity. Like people don't really think about this, but when you're moving, you're also getting eyes on everything that you own, and you're touching everything that you own. And if you're like me, that grows to fill the space that you're in, right? And you don't need all of that stuff. Oh my God, 2014, I packed everything that I owned into my Scion.
Yeah.
And drove from North Carolina to Florida and moved my, God, yearn for that. I packed every object that I owned. Fuck, that was such a beautiful day. Those days are gone though, but pack yourself. And also, don't burden your friends with packing you. If you ask me to help you move and I come over and you're still packing, I'll be like, let me know when you're ready to move.
Well, that means two separate things. I think it's totally okay if you need a support system while you're packing. Make sure they understand that they are taking your belongings and putting those belongings in a box. It's a very different task than asking for help with moving, which to me means I'm picking up your stuff and putting it in a car or a truck for you.
That's fair.
We have been asked to help friends move, and it turns out they wanted help packing.
Those are two different things.
That's a very different thing.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask for help with both, but be clear about what you mean.
I just, personally, this is just a personal opinion. It is not appropriate to ask people to help you move, or I'm sorry, to help you pack if you're not going to be in the room with visible eyesight to everything that they're picking up and moving or packing for you. I just think that it's an opportunity for you to get eyes on your stuff, to know where it is going, and it is good for you to like be very cognizant. This is a really good opportunity for you to see if the item sparks joy or not. And like if you're not making a run to Goodwill out of a move, you're doing it wrong. In my opinion, this is again an opportunity for you to sort through your stuff.
Label your boxes clearly so that you know where they're ending up in your new place.
Label them clearly, but don't let me come over to your house and say, okay, here's a couple boxes. If you could go into that room and pack it for me, and then you're not a part of that. That feels very strange to me. Again, that is purely a personal opinion, but that's how I feel.
I've definitely seen clients have friends come over to help them with packing. Like packing was very overwhelming, and they've had like a packing party or had a friend over and had them help with packing. I think that if that's the level of support you're looking for, like it's okay to ask. Again, be clear about what you mean.
I guess it makes me uncomfortable because it feels so personal.
It does feel very personal.
Very like deeply personal for you to go through my belongings and put them into like boxes. I don't know why.
At least hear it this way. If that is what you're asking for, understand what to ask that is. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to ask for help in that way. But I do think it's important to put into context, like having somebody come and pull through your personal belongings. Like it's a little bit of like emotional labor on top of just physical labor.
Sure.
It's a little bit of a thing to be doing that level of decision making for somebody else.
The other thing that I'm thinking is, again, going back to pacing yourself, the move is not over until you're unpacked. Oh, God, you guys. How many times have we moved somewhere and then there's just a few random stray fucking boxes that just never get touched? They never get addressed because you think that you're done moving when all of your stuff is off the truck and in the new location. No, you're not done moving yet. They're unpacking as a part of that. So pace yourself for that.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to happen the same weekend.
Right.
But don't let your stuff sit in boxes unseen, untouched for months, if not years on end. Might as well that stuff might as well not exist.
Right,
anymore.
that might be an automatic giveaway at the end of that time.
And you owe yourself the mental relief that comes with unpacking that last box. That's a really beautiful feeling, and you deserve to cross that finish line. You've gotten this far.
Yeah.
Cross that line with excitement. Yeah, that's what's on my mind. We're pretty good about that. And I'm glad that we are, because I wasn't when I was moving around a lot on my own. I really wasn't. I would just unpack what I needed.
Yeah.
And what I needed versus what I moved were two different things.
Well, that becomes such a stress because then it feels like the process of moving never ends.
Exactly.
Like then you're in your new place and you're a month or two in and you're like, oh, where's that pan that I need now? And now you've got to go through boxes again. Allow yourself to be done with moving. I think it's a gift that you can give yourself if you're able to get through it and plan for it as part of the move.
Especially if you've meticulously gone through all of your stuff and kept the things that you've decided you wanted or needed. Like that filter happened, and then you move, and then that stuff never makes its way. Like you made a conscious decision to keep it, but then you never made a conscious decision to place it in your life, which is strange to me. See it all the way through,
Well, it's definitely been a good opportunity on both ends. You're getting to go through your stuff and decide what to get rid of or what to donate on the one side of packing. Then on the other side of unpacking, we do the same process again, and it's been really helpful. And sometimes just the fact that thing has been in a box for a little bit, you're like, oh yeah, I really don't actually feel as attached to this as I thought I did.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that this is useful. I mean, moving is so stressful, even if it's for good, positive, happy reasons, to a really exciting place that you're thrilled to be at.
Yeah.
But I think it also is particularly stressful to people who are neurodivergent and really loathe this sort of endeavor in the first place.
We really need a routine to help. Sorry, the cat jumped on my lap. We really need a routine to help our brains out. And then I think also a lot of times we need the support of having steps all the way laid out for us.
Yeah.
Or at least having gotten the chance to do that ourselves. So don't deny yourself that. Go ahead, make a list ahead of time of the things that need to be done so that you're crossing items off and know clearly where to add them instead of waiting as the move is progressing to run into those things, because that's extremely stressful.
This is a really useful, perfect list that you've provided us
That's
with today.
right. It's a perfect list.
Do you have any other thoughts for folks who are, about to move or embarking on a move, or maybe will move in the future?
We'll do both. Make it go easy on yourself, and then make it easy on yourself in the way that you prepare and plan ahead. And the other bit, I think the last thing I would say is that my encouragement to you is that there are really lovely people everywhere. And I think the other thing that I hear in this is the emotional bit of, when I get there, I'm going to be alone. And what do I do then? And like, we have an episode on making friends. That might be a good place to turn to. But I think that the good news is that there are really lovely people everywhere. And where you go, like, you'll be able to connect to people. I think about how many like surprising people we've gotten to add to our life through different moves, and what a like gift.
Yeah, there are good people that are just, you have friends everywhere. You just haven't met them yet. It's a really good attitude to have, because that has been our experience,
Yep.
Everywhere we move, we find really amazing friends. And it's like, what are the odds that we would become friends with these, we would make such good friends here? Well, the odds are pretty fucking good, because it's just
potential friends
what
everywhere.
are the 2 ingredients you need for friends? Is like some level of common interest and time. Those are the 2 things you need. Well, speaking of time, I'd like to thank you for your time.
No, Price, thank you for your time.
And we'll see you next time on I Married Your Therapist. Or I Knocked Up Your Therapist. Almost forgot.
You enjoy the dad joke this time.
Yeah, I mean, now we're just gonna, it's just my sense of humor. It's just,
right, now it's
we're
just
gonna call it a
getting
dad
labeled
joke.
dad jokes.
It's kind of fucking offensive. Like before I just had a body, now I have a dad body. Nothing changed on my end.
Dad bods are hot. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, if you feel that way.